Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Etop Ikpe.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for putting this event together. Before I start, I want everybody here to really take advantage of the opportunity that you have. It's very impressive to see that this digital space is being respected. At the time when I got into e-commerce, it's probably about 2007, I couldn't even tell people what I was doing. I had to lie. I had to tell people I was doing something else because of how much discouragement I got from people. So at some point in time, I just decided, you know what do you do? I told them something else, so they stopped discouraging me, and I could just focus on building what I was doing. So I had people from my family members make fun of me. Even my own banker told me, you're in the wrong business. It doesn't make sense what you're doing. But we built, we worked, and then one day I was driving, and I've heard so many stories. It's great to hear. I was the customer service person, this, everything together. In fact, I had multiple customer service accounts to make the company look like we were large. So I had customer service accounts, and there was Fumi, and in fact, I had different stripes. So we appeared like, we have what they call the federal character. Yeah, so we have federal character. That's what they call me. But that was how big it was, and then one day I was driving through, and then my phone just kept, all the phone just kept buzzing, and I realized, you know what, just go back and set this thing up properly. It's enough taking it as a joke, and it's been insane since then. So it's great to see that, like I said, we're putting this, we're focusing on digital economy, but personally I'm a very pragmatic person. A lot of people that know me, I really like to look at the big picture, bring it down, and then start working on it to get there. And throughout my life, from where I've been to where I am now, it's really been about hard work and building. So what I want to focus on today is the future is online. I'll select topic, and that's what I picked. And so the future is online is a very cliche statement. I think everybody here knows that. You've heard that for years. Everybody has heard the future is online. We all know the future is online. So the question is, if we all know the future is online, we've heard it for years. In the past, we heard the future was online. Now we're in the present, we're still hearing the future is online. So why are we not Zuckerberg? Why are we not Bezos of Amazon? Why are we not Jack Ma of Alibaba yet? And people are breaking ground. So there's a big disconnect between the vision, the ideas, and the reality of being able to achieve it. And there's a very deceptive nature about the digital economy. So you see people like me who, funny enough, we had a lot of conversations. My first time meeting, we had several conversations back and forth, so it's great to actually meet him. And it's very deceptive because it tends to paint a picture that this digital environment or whatever you see is a soft place because it's about techies, right? Programmers. So the picture is painted like it's a very nice place, easy place, friendly people. But it's one of the industries that have the most intelligent people in the world. So you look at the things that are being done, look at things that are being developed. It's a very, very competitive environment with a lot of intelligence available. So for you to succeed, you need to also be intelligent, and you have to be very serious about what you're doing, because there really is no room for you to slack. Remember, it's digital, so it's per second. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. That's how it works. And even where I am right now at Dealday, some things that we do that make such a huge difference are based on a second. So we have to break it down into the hour, because you're looking at the space and you're looking at the traffic. So you need to ensure, and that's how you understand how to change the game. You break it down into the hour. We want to be at this hour, and at 2 o'clock, this is where we should be. And the more you understand how important time and value is, the greater you're extending your own chances for success. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is a few companies. So we understand basically the mindset of the current global digital space. It's very important to understand the way the trends are moving. That should then determine how it is you also are developing. You shouldn't be behind the trend. Remember, if you're thinking about the future, you can't be working on the present. You have to be working on the future. So if you're developing things around what you're currently seeing, you're already losing. You're out. You're not going to succeed. So what it is, you have to look at what's currently happening and then think about how am I going to get ahead of them, because those are the people you're going to be competing against. So if you look at the companies that I put out here, basically plugged about 4 companies which I personally like. These are companies that are all doing very strongly in their verticals, their industries. You look at Alibaba, it's currently the top online retailer in the world, valued approximately about $250 billion. You look at Uber, top ride-hailing service, valued about $50 billion. Airbnb, top accommodation marketplace. How many people know Airbnb here? We need to study, we need to read. We need to study, we need to read. Airbnb is a very fast-moving global company. Airbnb is valued at $24 billion. What they basically do is rent. They've disrupted the hotel market by allowing people rent their apartments. So I put up my apartment up and people rent it. I was in New York a few weeks ago and I saw the beauty of it. My sister was going to rent somewhere. We had something we wanted to do, and we looked at the reviews. Based on the reviews, we got the place. It's like 70% cheaper than any hotel you get, and it was fantastic. And it works. Some that can work here. So these are the kind of things that you need to be looking at. Slack. Focus a bit on this. Slack is a work productivity app, currently valued at $2.8 billion. It is currently the fastest growing company in the world. Slack went from a $0 valuation to $2.8 billion in 8 months. So do we understand what time is? Do you understand how important time is to succeeding? Slack is a work productivity app. You have your app, you develop, you share ideas, you set up projects, you do things like that. Slack has not even hired a marketing person. They just hired a marketing person, I think after 18 months. So basically they went to a $2.8 billion valuation without marketing. They went into beta testing. Basically we're pushing the app into the space for people to test and send their feedback, and it began to scale because it was so good. So this is when I said that you're in a very, very competitive environment. You look at people like Google, you're not dealing with people who are not smart. But it's perceived to be smart. It's perceived to be soft, but you heard how we talk. He's an assassin at this game like that. It's not a joker. So you have to understand how vital it is, how important it is for you to be on top of what you're doing. Now, even Slack as it is, I'll quickly talk on something. The founder of Slack for both of you, so you also understand that it's not very easy. Founded the company about 4 years ago. 4 years before he started Slack. And had up to $15 million in investments in the company, and the company went bust. So he actually gathered up to $15 million in investment for the company to went bust. But he's been able to pick himself back up and build a company that currently stands at $2.8 billion valuation. So you understand the stock, you will get through the difficult time, you get through the difficult period. In some cases, you will be perceived as being successful. So you see, one of the things that you also need to get your mind away from is like something that we celebrate in Nigeria is fame. It's very funny. We're not a fame conscious country initially, but I'm very surprised at how how people are so they are so hungry to be popular and known, as opposed to just creating value and building. People just want to appear on blogs and walk on the red carpet without really any sense of value. So one of the things you have to realize is that even as I am standing on this stage, hold on, even as I am standing on this stage, you have to understand that this is not success. You understand? He raised $15 million, he goes bust. He has to go through the experience of letting go of 300 individuals in his company, letting them go. One of them had relocated with his family and a newborn baby to the new state, left his job. 2 months after, he has to let that kind of person go. Is that an easy thing to do? How do you pick yourself up on that? That's a total failure. So we have to also get our minds away from this same thing that we love in Nigeria now. You know, be very careful about it. People will come and tell you, you're doing good, come and speak here, come and speak there. It's great, it's good to share, but don't get it to your head. One thing that's unique about the current trend of online players is that none of these guys here own anything. They don't own anything. So the trend has moved away from the Amazon age where, you know, you're doing e-commerce, you get a warehouse, pack all sorts of goods, you want to buy everything. What everybody is focusing now is enhancing the environment. Uber doesn't own a taxi service. In fact, the riders are begging them right now, are taking them to court to employ them. Make us your employees. They say, no, we are a lead generation company, we provide you with this. We're not employing anybody. This is the trend. Alibaba doesn't own an ounce of inventory. They don't own a logistics vehicle, they don't own anything like that. They just provide a platform for people to trade and enhance that trade with technology. The same thing with Uber. Uber doesn't own a taxi, doesn't own a vehicle, they only link the consumer to the buyer. Sorry, anybody who is looking for a ride to someone who is willing to offer a ride. Look at Airbnb, not 1 ounce of property owned. But they connect people who are looking for property with people who are willing to let go of their property, who they know when people do that. And that's simply the way it's going. Slack is not going anywhere to train anybody or provide any service. They have just provided something that helps companies communicate better. So this is basically where the trend is moving now. It's getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Lighter and lighter and lighter. You move away from. So your cost is less. That's the most important thing here. Initially, when you heard about the, how many of us have heard about the, actually, it's very funny because there are a lot of young people here. Some people might not even know that there was an early e-commerce bubble in the late 90s. How many people knew about e-commerce bubble in the late 90s? Right? That's because there was so much excitement, people went and they got heavy. But they began to scale, and we're going to why they scale because there's interest. So interest doesn't mean you're successful, right? So after some time, you need to now make a profit as a business. But these businesses were too heavy, most of them wasn't just feasible any longer for them to carry on. Too many staff. That's the reason why a lot of businesses are moving in this direction. Light, think light. So if you think light, you don't need a lot of money. If you think about solving people's problems, enhancing an already existing activity, then once you plug it in, it's easy to scale. You don't even need that much in marketing. So, in your approach to digital environment, and the direction I'm taking with this is basically, I can't teach you or I can't speak to you about all I know. The only thing I'm going to try to do here is I hope I can slightly tweak your mentality. Just tweak it slightly. And then you will do the rest. If you can just open up and see it's the direction we're moving in, then once you step out of this building, you see everything differently. Everything. So when you are approaching the digital environment, the first thing you have to think about is that online businesses are meant to enhance existing procedures and processes. Why? Because what is online? Online is like, hey, what does that mean? It's nothing. Do you understand? It's nothing. What's the internet? It's nothing. It's a theory. It's just a way of connecting people. So it's not virtual. So the first thing you need to realize is that if the process does not occur offline correctly, it cannot be successful online. It must exist. There must be a need. there must be a demand. You must be feeding into something. You cannot take something that doesn't happen in Nigeria at the moment. There's zero interest. And I'm not saying that something that looks like it's going to work. Interest, when I say interest, I mean an example is, let me even take from Nigeria and go to the US and say, assume that if you go into the US now, I don't think there's a really, really fantastic
Most don't have backup, they fit you. No backup. I'm making money.
So basically, you look at how much we love soccer and love premiership, specific premiership in Nigeria. The assumption is that if you launch something on NPFL, Nigerian Professional Football League, how many of us follow Nigerian Professional Football League? But if you follow, think about it, and you think about the fact that because the premiership is very popular in Nigeria, that means that there's not a popular website. So if you want to create content distribution websites, if you want to create a content distribution website for football in Nigeria, and your target is the Nigerian Professional Football League, simply because you follow premiership in Nigeria, are you most likely to succeed? No. Why? Because the interest is not there yet. So normally, like I mentioned, how many people are currently following the Nigerian Professional Football League? Only 100. How many people here follow premiership? Right? So you understand the mentality. If the demand does not exist offline, it cannot be successful online. Simple. So a current offline activity is greatly enhanced due to the vast connection and speed in information transmission online. This process greatly multiplies the output. So because this virtual space that, seems very playful, connects so many people together in so many different ways, what basically happens is that if I have an offline activity that is good, and I put it in the right way into the virtual space, I can enhance the potential of it reaching a lot of people. And we've seen trends, Twitter trends and this and that, and we've heard now that sweeping is trending on Twitter in Nigeria with millions of users from people just tweeting, and that's really what it does. So if I don't need to get, like our website, we have maybe, someone was saying that about two days ago, and we have probably about maybe 70,000 unique visitors daily. And someone said that, wow, what if 70,000 people walk into this room now? Or if we had to have a building where it accommodated 70,000 people to the shop, right? 70,000 people have to walk in, how would that be? And then it sort of takes you back. But that's what it does. I don't need to gather 70,000 people. 70,000 people don't need to take transport and come to my place. But we do it, we enhance these activities online. And so that's the way you have to think about it. You put it online, it enhances the activity and multiplies the output. So that's the kind of thinking. So let's do a look at the future, because we're talking the future. So we're not really going to focus on the present. We leave Alibaba, leave that behind. Let's think into the future a bit. So everybody here typically wants to make that billion, like our guy here, make those billions. And you want your internet, you want your idea to generate, you want to be like Mark Zuckerberg, you want to be like Jack Ma, you want to be that big internet entrepreneur, you want to be that big guy who creates a big lady, who creates those that thing that makes a huge change. So let's do a little exercise. 5 years down the line, let's look into the crystal ball and let's try to predict what is not online now. So I'll just, 3 people, 3, raise your hand. I think you give an idea. It's just something. And I'm not saying anybody's idea, but just something. Let's engage a bit. What do you think that doesn't currently exist now. An activity, but you think in 5 years' time will be an activity that will be very valuable online. So let's plan towards that. So who is willing to give a go? You guys you are supposed to be student summit. I expect that. You know, when I was in school, I was like a mad person because I didn't agree with anything. Seriously.
Etop, can we generate electricity online? I hope we won't have electricity problems.
Okay, fantastic. So that's one idea. It might seem crazy, but that's one idea. Generating, because that's the problem, right? Everybody needs electricity. So one thing is, it's possible to generate electricity online. Yes? Okay. Does anybody know any app or any platform currently that provides you with domestic help or things like that? Yes, already exists. That's in the past. 5 years, train your brain. Train your brain. Yeah?
The platform where...
That's right. We'll stop our children from taking bags and books to school. Does that exist? You?
The platform where books, apps, and music, and social movies can be critiqued. Like a platform where critics can come and then
Does it exist? In a way, maybe, somehow, does it exist?
Yeah.
It exists.
I'm thinking of a platform whereby the petroleum sector, whereby it's possible for you to order for your petroleum products online. Like you want to buy fuel, you order for it and they'll bring it to you through a delivery van, through a minivan.
I'm thinking of an application whereby you can be able to know your car very well. Even if you develop a fault on the highway, you can be able to scroll through your phone, go to a particular site, and be able to know what exactly at that point in time. If it is getting a mechanic to fix it for you, you click on the on your particular site that the next thing you get the mechanic immediately. And even if you want to purchase whatever parts you need to get, or engine oil or whatever, you get it immediately.
That kind of makes sense, right? One more. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm thinking of buying gas online.
Gas fuel. I can buy gas on Dealday right now.
Thank you very much. Online food markets, the platform where you can have
Exists. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Political. Do we have any political platforms? That's also an area. So we'll take one more. There's a lot of you guys. Just one more. He stood up. Take one more. Okay, so I don't want to, we have other speakers coming on board. We can sit down and engage as much as possible, but we have to move on. But what this has done is basically give us a perspective. You can see that one, we're a bit disappointed because this is supposed to be beyond Nigeria. It's supposed to be beyond Nigeria. So you see you guys are sitting down and saying that I want to do this, how do we do this? You haven't even started like critically thinking. How do you challenge? How are you going to challenge? How are you going to challenge the existing? You said there were people that are out there. How are you going to challenge them? I told you, it's not an industry where people are not smart. Do you understand? So I'm a bit concerned. So those are things that you need to work on. You need to think, you need to engage yourself so much that your ideas will break them apart. That's how great ideas come. That's simple. But if you don't start by thinking, you're not going to go anywhere. So now we've gone through this exercise. We've gathered a bit of knowledge around current trends, how to adapt into those trends. We've looked at ideas, so we have typically more or less 70% of what we need to go. And we are about to pay the toll and more. One quick question a lot of people don't ask is what will prevent me from getting there? I'm guilty. You're a strong entrepreneur. It's a question you don't like asking yourself. I'm guilty. What will stop me from getting there? This thing that looks very nice and very good and all the ideas look right. Take a step back and then analyze and say, okay, everything looks right. Now, what are the factors that would actually prevent me from getting to where I want to be? Why this is very important is because it's only going to help you develop a need to solve certain areas. The things that are around, and this is why entrepreneurs don't like it, because it's the truth. And if you're a real entrepreneur, you have to be able to. Let me quickly point out something. If you're someone who wants to work, don't think that you cannot be an entrepreneur inside an organization as well. So when I request when I say entrepreneurs, I'm just simply referring to people who do things in innovative ways. And you can solve problems even in a corporate environment or in an employee status, you can still be an entrepreneur. So going back to what I was saying, if you're a true entrepreneur, you think about the problems and you want to propose solutions to them, most of the time when you're lying the problems that are there, you want to just go straight. You rather ignore it, but it's very important to look at this. I didn't know this when I started. That's why events like this are very great. They were not available when I started. And now I can share and explain to you that it's good to challenge these things and get this information so that you know how to prepare. If you can delay, I mentioned time is very important. If you can delay the amount of time you spend solving issues that you can easily gather from other people's knowledge, you grow quicker, you make less mistakes. Do I have a slide? Hello, who can help with this? I just need the next slide. So, yeah, we'll take one scenario, and that's a challenge that affects everybody, even the biggest entrepreneurs in the world are constantly seeking funding. So this is my own case study of an opportunity, cracking the funding issue. So one question. Is credit, would you say in Nigeria, and everything I'm talking about, let's start, we're looking at from a Nigerian perspective. Would you say it is readily available in Nigeria? Credit? No, right? It's not readily available. But banks do give out loans, right? But it's not readily available. It's people, you have to be a certain type of business, so it's not readily available. Credit is very important in any economy that's going to succeed. Credit is very, very important. And the interest rate is sustainable. Even if the credit is available and the interest rate is sustainable, more likely than not, you have to be making super huge margins for you to cover the interest rate. So it's not, even if you had access, it's very risky to go into. And that's why a lot of times you hear people say things like, don't go for loans, don't touch it. Because really speaking, you have to be very, very efficient in working in your business if you access credit. Because of the kind of interest rates, it doesn't give you a lot of room for mistakes. And any slight mistakes, any slight mistake, you go down. So the interest rates are also not very encouraging. So I'm happy you guys switched to FMB as well. So, but one key thing to look at is, learning is a big business globally. HSBC, typically the biggest institutions in the world are financial institutions. Financial institutions make their money through what? Right? So they make their money through lending. So it's big business. Consumer credit alone in the US, 2014, $3 trillion. Not SME consumer, that's me and you. Just lending to us to buy cars, buy suites, buy dresses, $3 trillion. That's not even close to what is given to businesses in Nigeria. So it's a big business in the world. So it's vital. Are Nigerian banks profitable? Are they profit-making organizations? Are they interested in making profits, or are they non-governmental? They are profit-making organizations. So if a profit-making organization has the ability to indulge in an activity that generates a lot of profit, should they not be doing it? They should, right? Right. Looking at all these things, would you say that maybe an opportunity exists? There's some certain factors dancing around that. It seems like maybe something might be there for one young person to create one kind of app that might do something that might crack this problem. Alright? What is the greatest challenge to lending in Nigeria at the moment? Not about that. Somebody should try, attempt to answer this. Yeah? Who else? Yes. It's all around the same thing. All around the same thing. Risk, risk, risk. The risk for the banks and the financial institutions to give out credit. Areas where financial institutions are operating and issuing out loans and things like that is because there is relevant data, social security numbers, passport, birth certificates, transactional data. You can tell how many taxi drivers in Lagos do we know the volume of taxi transactions? Do we know how many cab drivers move between Mushin to Kokomaiko? Do you know how many Okada riders exist in Oba? Do you know what the average trip costs in Pesa? So what happens in Nigeria is that every transaction has to be curated, so it's not possible to mass produce it. And without mass producing something, it cannot scale. Are you seeing it? So basically the banks have to curate every single transaction. That's the reason why they have to focus on the people, because if I'm going to spend time curating a loan, I spend time on curating a loan that will be most profitable to me, right? But if you have a template that can just provide you with information, then I can plug data in, and it just tells me I should give this one, take this one, I'll give this one, take that one out. So, looking at this, if there are two scenarios that you had now, being that there was an opportunity, so there are two scenarios to approach this. One, say you want scrapping. Most people right now would say, let's go and create a beautiful platform. Something like this. Something I like is that everybody is very app-driven. It's very good. When I started, mobile was very heavy, so I'm still migrating to app 100%. But it's good to see that you guys are, everybody that's come up here said app. So it's good to think that way. I have to see that. So they've developed a slick app platform that enhances UX is user experience. So if you're going to get into digital space, you know what UX and your UI is UI interface, UX is your user experience. So you want to develop a smooth interface that enhances UX, smoothens the transactions, right? And enhances speed. So I come in and plug in the data within 2 seconds and boom. But like you said, if the activity does not occur offline, can it be successful? So if I took this approach and just develop an app because I think there's an opportunity and I think I'm going to throw the app into the space and all of a sudden solve everybody's problem, a true failure, right? But this is another way to look at it. And somebody mentioned something, or Quent mentioned something that you scale down your idea. So you know what you want to do, you know there's a learning problem. But sometimes, when we see where we want to go, we assume that the road to getting there is not part of the process. So in this case, look at the second option we have. If you focus on gathering data to provide to lenders and as an opportunity to enhance lending. So in this case, this is you. These are the financial institutions in Nigeria, and in this bar, you enhance the ability for them to lend to people. What does that give you? One, it gives you data around things that are relevant. Two is that it earns you money, which you need to compete. So you can actually cross this curve eventually and join them here after some years. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if you can find a way right now to solve this risk problem,
But it's not easy, man.
which part of things they're doing are like BVN, which is very good. I have to say that there are a few firms in Nigeria actually trying to crack this problem with consumer credit. It's very, very key. And it keeps driving an economy.
You need to know that.
But if you can, in your own way, start working on providing data, how can I match people's data? How can I merge data? How can I provide relevant information around people? How can I give people things that will make it sensible for anybody to give this person a loan? Then you have an entrance point into lending. You might not be able to lend initially, but you have an entrance point into lending. And this brings us to basically the need to understand your environment. It's very, very important. You don't operate in isolation. You need to understand that there's a linkage to what you're trying to do. There are other sectors that are key to your success. So if those sectors are not developed, or are not working, or are not even moving in the right trend, you can't even be successful. So in some cases, what you need to do is to go and support the development of that sector. Even though you've seen the growth trend and if this sector works, what's going to happen is that other place where I see the big money is going to come out. But this sector is actually easier for you to penetrate. That sector you're looking at something that is very heavy and very far away. Where you currently are, there's a lot of work to do there and it's easier to penetrate. So it's not wrong, you have an idea, diverting it to focus on developing something is not wrong. It's just preparation. If you focus on ensuring that you have the right critical success factors in your growth idea, your growth idea, you will most likely succeed. So you see this graph here, right? Let's say this is a 7-year graph. So assume this is today and we're trying to build towards lending. This period is the gathering data phase. Right? But you see this phase is very fast. So it's not a successful phase. It's a perceived failure phase. So there are two approaches you can even take. If you're here, you can say, you know what, I'm going to create out my fine UX app, and I'm going to sit down. And I'm just going to allow word of mouth say that I have a fantastic app, but I'm willing to spend 2 years, 5 sitting down and not making a dime. But the key thing here, I know. So if I know, I don't employ people, right? If I know, I don't run my gen past me. If I know how I use my phone. You know how you manage your resources. I'm not investing in any kind of marketing because I know the space is not yet ready. The other option is, okay, this space is flat. I'm going to go and develop the data that is going to be vital to get this going. So the first one, I'm not interested in gathering that data, but I sit back, build my UX, monitor the system, allow for organic growth. I'm popular enough after 4 years, people know me, and I spike. The other one is I'm going into this space to go and pick in, create support the ecosystem. But what happens is that by the time the ecosystem is ready, I'm going to be allowed to play in the sector as well, because I'm big enough, I've made money, they know me, I've created relationships. A lot of times, someone mentions something, how do we sell ideas, how do we engage? How do you engage with somebody? If you walk into some things that we're doing through this stuff, there's some, I remember going for a meeting at GT Bank. You know when you go, you sweat so much on your way there. Now when I got there, when the person I was going to see was their CEO of GT Bank, the CEO. I didn't have one there, I didn't have anything. I think I even borrowed a suit jacket that day. When I got there, you know what the PA told me? He said, Ogasia, just sit down first. Let AC dry you. Then you go and say, Oga, like this, you want to say, just let AC just dry you for some minutes. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you understand what owning this space means, it means you're grinding it out, because you have it clear here. what you're trying to do. Even if you're going to present to an investor, when the investor calls you up and says, I'm giving you so amount of time, come and present this presentation to me. You have investors who will be willing to go with you long haul. But they also want to get in there. Right? You have investors who are going to be willing to go there. So my time is up. I'll run through quickly. So I'm not just talking to talk, I'm going to walk the walk a bit, take you through some things that we've looked at. It's the critical success factors for Dealday. Most critical success factors are online, offline activity. There must be commerce. Somebody said Nigerians are very enterprising people. That's for sure. Everybody has one side business or the other. As Nigerians like to trade. So that's there. See? Positive broadband penetration. Every single day, more phones have been added. Telcos are investing more. Broadband is increasing. Third one, growing middle class. GDP growth is increasing every day. People have more money to spend. The economy is booming. What does that mean? It means that my success ratio exceeds my failure ratio. It's actually more difficult for you to fail at the business and succeed. We don't need to do anything. All we have to just sit, do what we're doing, nothing special, and the business will grow. Because the ecosystem is already running. The critical success factors to you achieving your goal are there. So I'll quickly round up by outlining things I just discussed. 1, identify your opportunity. 2, understand your market. 3, determine your position. 4, build gradually towards gaining that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Etop Ikpe, who is the co-MD at Dealday. Thank you very much for that insightful presentation, and I'm sure we learned quite a lot. We're going to go for a musical interlude, and the next artist, yes, is a special guest artist, and I mean every meaning of the word special, is known as Mr. Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming M.I. on stage. Really, better than that.